Good evening, it's that bloke on a motorbike. I got a comment this week from a subscriber called Bob, and he said that his wife had asked a question: why do we drive on the left hand side of the road in UK when the rest of the continent all drive on the right? So why did we decide to drive on the left? Now, I thought I already knew the answer to that, but I've done a little bit of digging, and it's quite interesting. So that's what I'm going to have a look at tonight, and we're going to go through why we do it. Just before that, just give you a quick update on where we are with the bike. I still haven't heard anything. I'm going to go across it again on Saturday to find out what parts is needing, and if possible then I'll try and source them myself, and I'll take them across and then I can get it put back together, because I'm missing my little classic 350. The good news is the mighty BMW, the R1150 RT, got through its test this week. Went straight through, no issues at all. So I've been out for a shakedown ride, and first thing that I realised was, oh my god, how big is this bike? Honestly, well, like sitting with my legs across the sofa compared to the 350. But shakedown ride went quite well. I'm back into it, so fingers crossed. As long as it don't snow this weekend, I'm going to be out making some proper films, so you'll be getting one of those next week, next Friday. So in the meantime, back to why do we ride on the left? Well, or why do we drive on the left? Like I say, I thought I knew the answer to it, and it comes down to three main things: a sword, a horse, and Napoleon. Now, it might seem a bit random that, but bear with me. If you go back into Middle Ages, most people were right-handed, and still are. So it was so that you could draw your sword with your right hand to defend yourself. So if you're on the left-hand side as you're approaching somebody, you could draw your sword and use that if you needed to defend. If you're on the right-hand side, then you'd have to be fighting across your horse or across your body. And if you look in old medieval castles, when you get the spiral staircases going up to the keep, you'll find that they will go clockwise, and that is so that the defender, if they're retreating up the stairs, has got full width of movement with their right hand for the sword, where the attacker coming up the stairs, they haven't. They've got a limited, because the right hand is hitting the inner wall all the time as it goes around the spiral. So I thought, right, let's dig a bit deeper and see what we actually come up with. So we find out that in Roman times, the Romans used to march on the left hand side, and they used to drive on the left. Now it came up then that in, was it? Let me just have a look. I got a few notes here. Just let me have a look. It was Pope Boniface the 8th. It was, yeah. Oh, in 1300 AD, made the rule of the road and officially sanctioned that all pilgrims travelling to Rome should keep to the left. So that's the first bit we've got on it, and it stayed like that pretty much, for quite a long time anyway. Until we get into the 1700s. And in 1700s you got horse-drawn wagons with multiple horses, multiple teams in front of them, and the rider, rather than sitting up on a buckboard on the trailer or the cart, sat on one of the horses, and it was the left-hand side, the left rear. So that made it difficult for him to see what were coming from the right, so they tended to move across onto the right hand side, and the first sort of indicator of that was in America, where they had a lot of these, America and Canada, and the first law was passed to keep to the right in Pennsylvania in 1792, and shortly after that other states in the US and Canada followed. Now if we go back to France, there was a decree in 1792 again that ordered that all traffic should keep to the common right, which Napoleon, that little French guy, he later enforced it in rule for French roads. So that's where it comes from, as far as them moving on to the right. But in Britain, we didn't have those big sort of horse cart things, so we had smaller ones where they sit up on a buckboard on the front of it, in front of the cart itself, and most people are right-handed, so that they sit to the right hand side, so that they got the whip hand in the right, dominant hand. And then we come on to 18th century, we got traffic congestion, and that in London led to a law being passed to make all traffic on London Bridge keep to the left to reduce collisions and reduce accidents. And that was incorporated into the Highways Act of 1835, and it's been adopted throughout Britain and the Empire. So there were a movement in the 20th century towards harmonisation of road laws in Europe, and they started a gradual shift from driving on the left to the right. And the last Europeans to change from the left to the right hand side was Sweden, and they did it bravely of them. They did it and changed it overnight on, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Dagen H, which is H Day, on September the 3rd, 1967, and they did it at 4:50 a.m. All traffic in Sweden stopped for 10 minutes before restarting and driving on the right. So you're driving on left, you stop, you have 10 minutes, and then you change over. That must have caused a lot of problems. And today it says there's only about 35% of countries still driving on the left. And these include India, Indonesia, Ireland, Malta, Cyprus, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, and most recently Samoa, who in 2009 changed from driving on the right to drive on the left. The reason that they did that was to harmonise with Australia, so that they were all driving on the same side. Most of the countries are islands, so it doesn't matter, but where they do have a land border, then what they've got is traffic lights and crossover bridges and one-way systems, so that they can switch from side to side. So a little bit of a convoluted way around. The upshot is we don't drive on the wrong side of the road. We drive on the correct side of the road, as we did originally, and it's the Continentals, started by the French, who decided that they wanted to be different and drive on the other side. So there you go. Keep left, right? Or does it keep right, left? Whichever you want. Okay, if you're going to go abroad, the good thing about a motorbike is it's neither left-hand drive or right-hand drive. We just sit in middle, so it's a lot easier doing it that way. So it's been a very short video tonight, basically because I've not been able to get out riding. Next week, hopefully, normal service will be resumed with a longer video. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Leave a comment down below if you have. Let me know what you think about it. If you got anything else that you sort of think, I wonder why we did that, give us a shout. Leave it in comments, and I'll see if I can figure it out for you. So in the meantime, ride safe, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, and I will see you out on the road. Bye for now, folks. Bye.